In this video, I'm going to be talking about how having a healthy video production network helps me get booked consistently. Stick around and I'll let you know how. Here's the story. So when I look at my calendar right now, I see a lot of dates booked in there, and that's for sports presentation. And this is where I am a camera operator for a couple of NBL teams here in Australia. I shoot a lot of crowd stuff and also the host at the basketball game that gets shown on the screens in the arena. And this has been great ongoing work, which I've had in my calendar for about the last 18 months. So how did I get this job? Well, the morning of the very first game that I shot at about 9 a.m, I got a phone call from an agency asking me if I was available that night to do some camera operating for the NBL. Now, I had never done anything like this before, and this was quite new and, to be honest, a little bit scary, not knowing exactly what I was walking into, but I was up for the challenge and I said yes, and I was booked for my very first NBL game that night. The director on this project is someone that I met years ago, maybe back in 2010 when they were a video producer for a local church, and I was also a video producer at another local church. And one of my colleagues at the time introduced us, and over the years we've just kept in touch, and whenever they've needed an extra camera operator for different projects or different organizations that they were working for, they would contact me to find out if I was available for different camera operating jobs. And most of the time I'd be available and was more than happy to help out. And this was just the latest job that they were able to refer me on to, or be able to get my foot in the door to be able to prove myself as a camera operator to another organization to hopefully be able to get more consistent work in the future. Well, I did my first game and I must have done a good enough job, because ever since I've been booked fairly consistently with that agency to be able to do this sports presentation camera operating job. And for this current season that's just started, I'm basically booked for the majority of the games for two of the Melbourne NBL teams. And for me, it's really encouraging to see all these bookings in my calendar, which wouldn't be there if I hadn't been referred onto that job in the first place by someone that's in my video production network. Stemming on from those sports presentation camera operating jobs, I was also contacted by the agency to be able to do some corporate live streaming shoots. And I remember doing my very first one. It was a single camera up the back of the room. Not very complex. All I needed to do was make sure that whoever was talking at the time was in frame, and then I'd just do some slow zoom ins and zoom outs. And it was very basic. And then at the end of what I believe was a successful shoot, one of the video producers came in and just shook my hand and wanted to get to know a little bit more about me, find out if camera operating was the main thing I did. And I said that I can do the live streaming stuff, and I was doing some sports presentation stuff as well for their agency. But the main thing that I normally do are corporate interviews and corporate videos with my Sony FX6. And when I said Sony FX6, his ears pricked up, and that was because at the time it was 2022, and the Sony FX6, as you may be well aware, was very, very hard to get your hands on. I was very fortunate to have a Sony FX6, and that must have been quite appealing to the video producer, because he said, all right, well, send through your rates, and if we have anything pop up in the future, we'll let you know. I've heard this so many times in my career: send through your rates, and then if something pops up, then we'll give you a call. And then I don't hear anything. But to my surprise, it wasn't too long after that conversation that I was booked to do a very simple piece to camera with one of the organizations that they work with. And this shoot ended up being a very simple piece to camera. I wasn't there for too long. I was probably there for less than an hour, and I was still able to charge my half-day rate. And over time, I've been consistently booked by this agency to keep doing shoots like this and others. There's been a variety of different types of shoots that I've been booked for, and this has been a really good ongoing client to have. And that all originated from a referral from someone that was in my video network, not from a social media post, not from a website, not from me going and knocking on doors, but having a healthy video production network being able to refer me on to different jobs. Other projects that I've been working on recently have been in the fitness industry, healthcare, and also local councils. And the fitness industry job is something that I got referred onto by someone in my video production network. And that was someone that I met years ago at my local church, I think back in 2010 once again. And he works in social media, and he does a lot of strategy and that kind of stuff, but he doesn't focus on creating video content. That's where I come in. He referred me onto his client that was in the fitness industry, and they wanted to have some videos produced for their website and social media. Once again, this project wouldn't be happening if it wasn't for my Healthy Video Production Network. So how can you create a healthy video production network? Well, for me, it's been doing as many different types of video projects as possible. And when I do them with a smile, I do them with a good attitude, and hopefully the people that I'm working with like me enough to get me to come back and do another project. This isn't just the organization that I'm shooting for, but also the crew members that might be on the set as well. If I'm working on a shoot where there are multiple crew members and I'm not the one leading it, but I've just been brought in as a contractor, then I do my best to be able to meet the other people that I'm working with, shake hands, smile, be friendly, and someone that's easy to work with, because who knows where your next job might come from. If you're able to leave a good impression on the crew members that you're working with, then hopefully in the future, if they need another camera operator or sound operator or whatever it is that you specialize in, you'll be top of mind for them to be able to refer you on to whoever it is that makes the decisions for the crew that are on that video project. I've also been a part of local church communities, and that is a great place for people from all walks of life, all different industries to come together, and they might be business owners or someone that just needs video content for the organization or business that they either own or work for. And if I'm known to them as that video person, more often than not, they'll reach out to me to find out if I'm interested in helping them out and then also provide a quote. You might not be a part of a church community, you might be part of a sporting community, or you might go to a local gym, or you're just part of some sort of place or community where people come together. And it's in those places where you could be known as the video go-to person, and a great way to be able to build a healthy video production network. I've also recently been watching David Moorfield on YouTube and seeing what he's doing with the filmmaker meetups over in the United States. And that's been something that has inspired me to possibly do something very similar in Melbourne, Australia. Now, Melbourne is a very big city, both by population and also geographic space. So I was thinking of zeroing in on the southeast area of Melbourne, which is where I live. I live in Berwick, which is a part of Melbourne. And I was thinking of starting some sort of meetup where other video producers in this local area are able to come together, talk about business, talk about gear, talk about whatever it may be, and also just create a place where video producers can meet other video producers and possibly collaborate on different projects that might come up in the future. If you're in this local area and that sounds appealing to you, let me know in the comments and we'll see if we can get something started. Thanks for watching. I hope this was helpful.